I'm not even exaggerating when I say we may have just witnessed the most frustrating loss ever as the Giants' offensive incompetence reaches historic levels.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on the show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, hosting this show for over 6 years, and I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, so check us out there if you have not already. And please just hit that subscribe button right now, wherever it is that you're following the show. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And coming up on today's show, I'm literally calling this the most frustrating loss ever last night for the Giants. We'll break down the game. We will break down the historic levels of offensive incompetence, and we will analyze or try to come up with an idea. I mentioned on a YouTube short last night, do we need to burn some incense on the show or something like that? How do the Giants fix this? We'll get to that as well in Logan Webb's brilliant outing. But man, so the Giants lose yesterday by a score of 1-0 in literally, like, it's hard to imagine a more frustrating loss for the team because Logan Webb was on the mound. He pitched an absolute gem, and like they lost 1-0. I'm sure you're aware of that. If you're not, then you're lucky because it was that tough to see, although the pitching was phenomenal. I mean, Logan Webb was heroic. He went 8 innings, 6 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Like, you just couldn't ask for more. And then Randy Rodriguez was amazing. Ryan Walker inherited that ghost runner and allowed him to score, but he didn't give up any hits or walks. He just got 3 outs, and they were productive outs, and the Padres got a run, and that was it. But the Giants had so many opportunities in this game. They had the bases loaded and nobody out at one point and got no runs. Like, we make a joke of that's the Giants' worst situation to be in is bases loaded, nobody out over the years. But this year it had been not just that situation, but clutch hitting was something they were doing a lot early on, but it has dried up in the most incredible and unbelievable and unsustainable, frankly, way. Like, they were unsustainably good in clutch, high leverage situations early on, and right now they can't sustain this level of poor play. Like we'll get into, they've scored 30 runs in their last 15 games, which is just, historic. We will discuss the numbers behind that. But in the first inning, I mean, Elliot Ramos led off with a single, and then Matt Chapman singled. And so they had 2 guys on with 2 outs, didn't get anything across. In the second inning, it starts with walk, hit by pitch, walk. And so it's bases loaded, nobody out. And then Tyler Fitzgerald swings at a pitch way off the plate inside. I'm looking at the pitch location right now, a good foot off the plate inside. It's like inside the batter's box line, not even close. And so over aggression there to try to get something done. It was a sinker, so it's running in on him. But yeah, he gets completely jammed, hits a ground ball to third, and they throw home for the out. And then you've got Elliot Ramos coming up, and you're thinking, okay, Ramos is like one guy swinging the bat well lately. But what does he do? He also swings at a pitch even more inside. I'm looking at the pitch location. It's unbelievably not a strike. Like, it's so far inside. He swung at the first pitch, which was a good pitch to swing at. It was a slider up in the zone, up and in a little bit. But then that second pitch, another sinker way off the plate, and he grounds into a double play. So bases loaded, nobody out. And like what's behind it is over aggression. Like you want to be aggressive, but you want to be kind of patiently aggressive, like swing at pitches that are in the zone with a lot of oomph behind it. But if you're chasing pitches out of the zone, this is what happens. And so it's guys are pressing, trying to do too much. So that was obviously very frustrating. A lot of double plays lately have killed rallies. They hit into a double play in the third. Matt Chapman with Wilmer Flores on base. 1, 2, 3 in the fourth, and then 1, 2, 3 in the fifth. In the sixth, Jung-Hoo Lee leads off with a single. Jung-Hoo Lee stole second base and then strikeout, ground out. And in the eighth, Casey Schmidt walks, Tyler Fitzgerald walks, Elliot Ramos walks. So they have the bases loaded with 2 outs, and Jung-Hoo Lee struck out. And then in the ninth, Wilmer Flores led off with a single, and then Christian Koss pinch ran and got to second. And then they went strikeout, strikeout, strikeout with a runner on second and nobody out in the bottom of the eighth. And then in the ninth, they let off with a single. And then here's where the bad luck crept in. So Tyler Fitzgerald, he was trying to bunt, but then the pitcher was throwing balls. And so he ended up getting the bunt sign taken off, and he kind of smoked a ball into right center that was hit 99. And this is like, I've got all the numbers here with hit probabilities. That ball had similar batted balls are hits 39% of the time for Fitzgerald, which is not that high, but still 99 miles an hour. And then Elliot Ramos followed that up with a rocket into center at 105 miles an hour, and similar batted balls, meaning similarly hard hit, similar trajectory, are hits about 67% of the time, but they were both outs. So it goes for the Giants. And then, like I said, Padres score their ghost runner in the top of the 10th with, the productive outs the Giants have not been able to get. So Jung-Hoo Lee starts off the inning at second. Christian Koss successful sacrifice bunt gets him to third with 1 out. So once again, a scoring opportunity for the Giants. And then Matt Chapman hits a ball 110 miles an hour. 110 miles an hour. Similar batted balls are hits 59% of the time because it was on the ground. But that's not taking into account the fact that the infield was in. They're hits 59% of the time, usually with the infield not in. And so with the infield in, I would imagine if you hit a ball 110 miles an hour on the ground with the infield in, like it just has to be kind of right at somebody for them to get an out. And it wasn't. It was to Jose Iglesias' right, but he made an incredible play on 110. Like that is so hard hit. It was the hardest hit ball of the entire night by either team. And it's the second out. And then Gerard Encarnacion comes up fresh off the injured list. We're not even really getting into the fact that he was activated. Perhaps we should. He was activated, and he looked really bad in his first at-bat, striking out. And then he looked bad for the first couple of pitches in this next at-bat, but then he fought off some tough pitches and ended up hitting a rocket himself at 101 miles an hour with an expected average of 610. Similar batted balls are a hit 61% of the time. It basically, if it's right at somebody, that's when it's not a hit. And it was right at Luis Ariz. And the look on the Giants' faces in the dugout said it all. I mean, they all just looked as shell-shocked as the rest of us because it's just unbelievable. Mike Krukow said snake bit, and I think that is a good term for what is going on right now. So that was the game, 1-0, and it's hard to imagine a more frustrating loss than that. So we will look into the big picture numbers. I want to look at how they're doing in situational at-bats on the season, their runs per game on the season. big picture stuff, and then how do they fix this? All that coming up in just a minute and before we get into it. Today's episode of Locked on Giants is brought to you in part by our good friends over at Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site that's made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Do you need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, here we go. We are going to get into the numbers behind the Giants' historic incompetence and also take a look at some big picture numbers on the season. Thanks again for making Locked on Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow we're at it again. The Giants will go with Landon Roop on the mound, who's pitched very well as of late. Everyone is pitching well as of late. That is not the problem. And he will be opposed by a guy I've never heard of as I look at his name right now, Ryan Bergert, who will be making his 5th Major League appearance. He's never started a game. So I suppose he's possibly going to be an opener, although he was a starter in the minors. But, guy making his first start ever, he'll probably dominate the Giants offense. That's just how it's gone. He's a righty, so at least the Giants have that going for them because they've struggled so bad against lefties. But we'll be breaking that one down tomorrow. That's the thing about baseball. You've always got a chance to flip the script the next day until you don't. But right now, early-ish in the season still, they've got time to turn this around. But right now, it's just unbelievable what's going on. So the level of incompetence is very, very high. The last time the Giants scored, 4 or fewer runs in 15 consecutive games was in 1976. August 1st through 14th, 1976 was the last time we witnessed anything like this. They've also been shut out 3 times over their past 9 games, which is obviously not good. And 2 of those games were 1-0 losses. They lose yesterday 1-0. They lost in Miami on Saturday 1-0. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 2 of their last 3 games have been 1-0 losses. And so when you allow just 1 run in a game, it was Robbie Ray and Logan Webb. It's just unreal that you can't win that game. And then they, looking back at these last 15 games, they won a game 1-0. That was the start of this stretch. Then they won 3-2. They lost 3-1. They won 3-2. There was a 8-4 game. Break out the presses. Is that the term? Because, oh my gosh, 12 runs scored in a game. If you combine the scores, it's like they haven't allowed, that's the only time they've allowed more than 4 runs was one time in this 15-game stretch. And then they won 4-0. They lost 3-0. They won 3-2, lost 3-1, lost 3-1, lost 4-3, won 2-0, lost 1-0. It's crazy. 4-2 win and then a 1-0 loss. That's the 15-game stretch. And so, 1976, the last time they've gone this long without scoring more than 4 runs. And so on the season, what's crazy is that their run differential and their place in the standings is not bad. I mean, their run differential suggests they should be 2 wins better. The Brewers are right on their heels, having won 8 in a row. But the Giants are just half a game out of a playoff spot. And they have the 4th best run differential in the National League. And if I look over at the American League, there's only 2 teams in the American League with a better run differential. Their Giants are tied with the Rays for so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tied for 6th best run differential out of all 30 teams at plus 41. And so we're going to look at the runs per game now. The league average this year is 4.31. There was a good long while, not long, but to start the season, the Giants were up there in runs per game. And even now, it's crazy to look at, but they're just 3 teams below the league average. Like the league average is 431, and then the A's are at 421, 4.21. Blue Jays 4.20, Padres at 4.19. I think a lot of people think of the Padres as this crazy good offense, but they've struggled themselves. And then there are the Giants at 4.13. So even with this stretch of not scoring more than 4, and it's very often less than 4, and right now it feels like they can't get a single run, they're at 4.13. If they could have just scored 4 runs in these games, they would have won yesterday. They would have, I'm going to talk about losses in this stretch that they would have won if they could have scored 4. Against the Royals on the 19th, against the Nationals on the 24th, against the Tigers on the 26th, the Tigers on the 27th, would have been 4-4 on the 28th, so we just won't count that. Against the Marlins on the 31st, and against the Padres yesterday. That's 6 games that were losses in this 15-game stretch that they would have won if they had scored just a mere 4 runs per game. And so add 6 wins to the Giants' record, and it would be 39-21, which would be the best in the National League. So look, you can't just add 6 wins like that, but I'm just saying, like, if you could just play to your average, even, that's how well they've pitched during this stretch. And so now I just want to look at situational hitting, because that was like an emphasis of Buster Posey. And for a while, I think there was like credit being handed out there. Let's see, the Giants' double play percentage looks about average. Productive out percentage is a little bit complex. It's talking about advancing any runner with none out, successful sack for a pitcher, so that doesn't even qualify anymore, driving in a base runner with the second out of the inning. It's on baseballreference.com. Giants are towards the bottom at 26.2%, but there's like 9 teams below them or so. But I'm more interested in this runner on third, less than 2 out situation. So, runner on third, less than 2 outs. The league average is usually around 50%, and sure enough, right now it's 50.1% of the time. So when you've got that runner on third, less than 2 outs, it's a coin flip. Are you going to get him in general? But for the Giants this year, they are at 48.4%. So that's not like that much different, right? 48.4 versus 50.1. However, there are only 6 teams below them. So it's the 7th worst mark in baseball at scoring that runner from third with less than 2 outs. And, the thing is, I just want to point out, this is not a knock on Buster Posey or anything, but there was an emphasis on this type of situational hitting, and yet they're not doing well in it. And so it just goes to show you it's not that easy. It's not like you can just say, be better in these situations or shorten up or whatever it is. It's just not that easy. If it was that easy, guys would do it. Like people would drive in those runs. Baseball players understand that. So how about a runner on second, no outs, advancing them to third? The league average is 51.5%. So once again, both of these situations tend to be about 50% propositions, and the Giants are above average at 55.3%. There are Giants are ninth in baseball at advancing that guy. They do have a lot of sacrifice bunts, at least lately, and they're stealing a lot, or at least they've been trying to steal, and they've been pretty successful lately. On the season, they only have 36 steals, which ranks 21st. Their caught stealing number is 17th at 13 caught stealing. So they're 36 out of 49, which is 36 out of 49, 73.5%. So that's a solid percentage of success. So I'm happy they're being more aggressive by trying to steal bases. The Giants have grounded into the 9th most double plays, and trying to find, I don't even know where to find it because I so rarely look at such things, but like sacrifice bunts, I don't even see it in my dashboard. But like sacrifice hits, I don't see it. Giants have 7 bunt hits, which is 6th highest in baseball. Let's see, they're pinch hitters. There's all kinds of stuff I can look at that, but the fact is, like, they're trying everything they can, and they're trying too hard, probably. Like that bases loaded, nobody's out situation. Fitzgerald and Ramos swinging at pitches that were, I don't have like the exact number of feet off the plate inside, but looking at the pitch locations, like that just tells you kind of everything you need to know. And sooner or later, they're going to break out of this. And then I just have to say, in this 1-0 loss and in the 1-0 loss in Miami, they like got the big hit, the contact that usually is the big hit, but it with 2 amazing catches in Miami, a robbed homer by Tyler Fitzgerald, a robbed, ball at the wall, but off the bat of Jung-Hoo Lee, and then yesterday Matt Chapman and Gerard Encarnacion just hitting missiles, especially Chapman's ball, a missile, 110, hardest hit ball of the whole game. And maybe his hardest hit ball of the year, and it finds a glove. So it goes for the Giants right now. So how do they fix this? Well, Gerard Encarnacion, who was just activated in a bit of a controversial move, could be a part of the solution. Maybe. We'll get into it in just a minute, and before we do, today's episode of Locked on Giants is brought to you in part by Monarch Money, even though that says wonderful pistachios. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. And for me, instead of having all my accounts scattered all over the place, having them all together in Monarch Money is a complete game changer, because it's so hard to stay on top of things and stay organized and have juggle everything in your head versus having it in one place and having this financial command center. It is fantastic. And so you can take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. All right, here we go. How do the Giants fix this? Thanks again for making Locked on Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow we're ready to get hurt again here on the show as the Giants and Landon Roop face off against the Padres, and a starter named Mr. something or other, making his first major league start, fifth major league appearance. And naturally, I expect the Giants to struggle offensively against him. So we'll break that one down tomorrow. And maybe I'm trying the old reverse jinx here. But yeah, on the season now, the Giants' weighted runs created plus is 93, meaning they've been 7% below average. And their isolated power is 139, which is 20th, meaning they're just not hitting for a lot of power. Their batting average is 25th at 232. Their on-base percentage is 21st at 310. Their slugging is 24th at 371. It's just not been pretty. And their pitching has been like elite, and it's keeping them in games. And so it kind of reminds you of some of those championship era teams when they would struggle offensively big time, but their pitching, that's why the torture came around, because they always played these close, tight games. Right now, the Giants have the second best ERA in Major League Baseball at 3.09. And, with Verlander on the IL and the young pitchers stepping up, like, it's just been during specifically this stretch, they've pitched so phenomenally well. And Logan Webb, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more yesterday. But yeah, how do they fix this? Well, one guy who came along and joined the party in terms of didn't get the job done, although he did hit a ball hard there, was Gerard Encarnacion. So he perhaps factors in as someone who could play more. Like, it was interesting that LaMonte Jr. started even though Encarnacion was activated and Flores was the DH. And then LaMonte Jr. got hit in the hand by a pitch. X-rays were negative, but it was noteworthy that Casey Schmidt and not Encarnacion came in to pinch or just like play. I don't know if it was pinch hitting or just going out into the field. I think it was going out into the field for Wade and not Encarnacion. But they saved Encarnacion for a pinch hit appearance against Adrian Morejon with Mike Yastrzemski coming up. And then Encarnacion went out and played right field. And so I said this on Twitter at the time of the activation because Luis Matos was optioned in a corresponding move. And I think that surprised a lot of people, but not me. And part of my rationale was that they must view Encarnacion as a guy who's going to play some outfield. And sure enough, the first chance in a big spot with a lefty coming in to face Yastrzemski, they pinch hit for him with Encarnacion, and then he went out and played the outfield. So there you have it. But he'll also play some first. He'll also DH, and he could be part of the solution. We just kind of don't have enough of a sample, but he had some good expected numbers last year and decent results, and 2 at-bats this year. Or 3 plate appearances, ground out to short, strikeout, and then that missile to first that was caught to end the game. But, inserting him into the lineup, why not? Just to mix things up. But also you really have to start thinking about, do you make a trade or something like at this point? Because if you're not going to call up Bryce Eldridge, who's crushing the ball in AAA at 20 or AA, at 20 years old. But Buster Posey recently said he has a lot of work to do on defense. So when you hear the president of baseball operations say someone has a lot of work to do at something, that's a pretty good indicator that there's no like imminent call up. And so I have talked about trade candidates. The name that I mentioned, 2 names, Ryan O'Hearn of the Orioles and Rhys Hoskins of the Brewers. That was when the Brewers were not playing well. Now the Brewers are playing well. They've won 8 straight, and they're just a half a game behind the Giants, so they're not selling Rhys Hoskins right now. But the Orioles, we'll see. They've won 3 straight. They're 6-10 in their last 6-4 in their last 10, I should say. But they're 14 games under 500, 9.5 out in the wild card, and more than that, 14 out in the division. And so maybe they want to just wait out and see if they can catch fire. But Ryan O'Hearn having like a breakout season, plays first, plays some outfield, can DH, left-handed bat, and just having a big season. And he was listed, I think it was either Jeff Passan or Ken Rosenthal. I just saw a tweet in Glancing as like they said people who are available in trades at each position. And the one guy that was listed at first was Ryan O'Hearn, sure enough. And so I would just go out and get this guy. Like, what does it take? Get it done. He's a free agent at the end of the year, but he's just crushing the ball, hitting 329, 416 on base, 535 slugging, low strikeout rate, low chase rate. Like, get this guy over here ASAP. But we'll see. We'll see. And then Brandon Lau of the Brewers, of the Rays, he could probably play first. He's played more second, but he also DHs. And the Rays, though, are only 2 games out in the wild card, so we'll see. It's definitely they're the type of team who would trade a key player mid-season anyway, especially if he's approaching free agency. I don't know exactly the status there, but it's just time to think about anything you can do to wake this offense up. And I wouldn't wait until July 31st. Like if you are not going to call up Eldridge and Lamont Wade Jr. just continue to struggle, or his hand maybe has a micro fracture or something, like, it's time to act, because this pitching deserves better outcomes than this. Anyway, that is all the time we have for today. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Once again, my name is Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. It helps me out so much. So thank you in advance, and thanks to everyone who's done so already. Can't wait to be with you again tomorrow, hopefully talking about some runs being scored and a Giants win. Thanks again for listening. Today, you are now Locked On Giants.